All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another video. I hope you liked my last two deep dives. I'm going to be answering some YouTube comments and a few asks that we have today, and I am still getting around to doing more of an analysis of Still and Alone. So stay tuned for that. We've had some stuff happen, but the biggest thing right now is it's odd that we don't have dates yet for Dead City, the next season, and they haven't confirmed yet whether it's going to be the final season or not. But there's a lot of talk going on and a lot of interesting things going on. So we're just kind of sitting back and waiting to see what happens, right? So let's go ahead and dive into these comments here. Let's see. Some of these I'm not sure if I read last time, so I apologize if I'm reading them again. I think I read this one. I think I read these ones before and I didn't actually answer them. Okay. The album stuff is super suspicious. She definitely said in summer that her TWD mini album would be coming out in December and that it was basically done. On Halloween, I got a cameo from her when I asked her to play something from the upcoming album, and she played Steven's Weed and also mentioned that the song was going to be getting released as a promo for the album in November. Well, November, December came and went and nothing was released. But even more strange is she hasn't mentioned it at all since then. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think what they do and don't say ends up being important. So if she's not mentioning it, then there's a reason for that. They're probably telling her not to because they're rolling it back and they're trying to figure stuff out. And it's just easier not to mention it than to mention it and get a lot of questions on it. So yeah, very interesting. And I agree, it's definitely suspicious. All right, I'm watching right now, just finished 5A, and I'm primarily watching through the You Get to Come Back brutality versus civility lens. It's really interesting. It's all about choices, isn't it? So this is from the deep dive I did on the You Get to Come Back theme, right? And these choices in the show are, and real life, let's see, and these choices in the show and real life, not easy. Rick struggles with it over and over. His skepticism with Herschel, that's a nice catch, but how tragic is Herschel's death and death scene smile if Liar is affirming Rick and not the governor? I think Rick is struggling and maybe doesn't 100% believe what he's saying, but the governor is too far gone and can't conceive of thinking or acting in any other way. I agree because he's meant to be a foil for Rick, so he's like the opposite of Rick, so for sure. How characters react to events that push them toward pure, unreturnable brutality is a huge part of the show. I get it now. It's too bad Beth left the show at that point. Carol is totally losing it in her journey down the dark path, but what would have been Beth's? Daryl is so interesting and perhaps overlooked here. He starts from the brutal prison. He and Merle, they were going to rip off the camp. Merle chops off his own hand, but at a certain point, Daryl makes a choice and then constantly makes the choice toward good while still being a realist about the world he lives in. He's not Morgan, lol. And his movement toward good is seen by others and reaffirmed. It's affirmed by Daryl himself over and over again. He's the foil to Dark Rick, we ain't them. Of course, he caps Morales in season 7, but that's a different Daryl arc. Agreed. Yeah, no, I like your rambling. Yeah, it's really interesting once you can nail down some of the themes to see like what they have been working with and to watch the character arcs and like you say the choices they've made through that lens. So yeah, thank you. I like that. Okay. I'd like to imagine that when you watch The Walking Dead for symbolism, you're like that DiCaprio meme where he's pointing at the TV. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm like personally. I can't speak for music box though. That's funny. I like it. I always felt that what happened, what's going on was specifically referring to the missing 17 days. Yeah, I agree. And you know what? That's definitely, we can even say that's definitely true. I mean, to a certain extent, because it was during the Talking Dead after 509 that Nicotero said the thing about the missing 17 days. That's like where we get that from. That's how we know it's 17 days because Chris, who was the host of The Talking Dead, said to Nicotero, "How many days has it been since Coda?" Because that was the hinge. Those two episodes were on opposite sides of the season break. It was like over the holidays. So it's like we got Coda and then it was 3 or 4 months before it came back or however long it was. And so he said, how long has it been for the characters in the show since Beth got shot? And Nicotero said, oh, 17 days. I mean, that's just weirdly specific. So yeah, I agree. I mean, the fact that this is the first episode and they mentioned that, I totally agree. So yeah, great comment. Let's see what else we got here. We got totally spoiled on the amount of videos this week. Thanks for another video. Always look forward to them. Amazing deep dive and more proof that Beth is on the way. 100%. I really enjoyed this. It finally makes sense if the weird connection between Daryl, Beth, and Carol Tyrese and the girls after the fall of the prison. Yeah, for sure. Because I think that there was a lot of people, when we were watching it live, especially who kind of intuitively felt that there was something going on there, but nobody could figure it out. And honestly, I couldn't either, until I read it this way. So now I regret that I didn't watch the episode. I knew the little girls will die and refused to watch it, but that dialogue was so Beth. She knew that people look down on her, but she also knew that she is strong and stood by her ideals. Well, Lizzie wasn't entirely wrong, just not accurate, right? I'm thankful for this deep dive. Stay healthy. Thank you. Yeah, I still remember when the episode was on, and I did watch it. I didn't know that that was going to happen, though. Like I've said before, at the time I was a very loyal viewer, but I wasn't necessarily getting online and looking at spoilers during season 4. And I remember going to work the next day, and there were several of my coworkers who watched it, and everybody was talking about this episode, just going, I can't believe they did that in that episode last night. Like, holy cow. And everybody, it knocked everybody on their butt. It was such a brutal episode. So, and just so stinking tragic. That one. No, I actually got that one too. Okay, I think that's all of my YouTube comments. Okay, I've only got about 3 asks, so I think I'm just going to do them all in the same video today. Okay, so this one, hello. I just wanted to clarify that this is all speculation and rumor that's been circulating over the past few days. AMC has not confirmed or denied whether Dead City Season 3 will be the final season of the series. By the time you see this, we might have an answer or we might not. If this does turn out to be true, it makes the theories you mentioned even more interesting. I've never doubted them, and I strongly believe Beth is alive. The idea that Dead City most likely ends with an AU or dream sequence featuring Beth is especially intriguing to me. Why end it with her? It definitely raises questions. We also know that Emily was at Warner Brothers Studio not too long ago, around the same time as Roman Levi, co-drawn. Could that have been for the extended footage for Daryl Dixon? Maybe. The only thing that makes me second guess the idea of Dead City Season 3 ending here is the possible France trip we've talked about. That still feels like a loose thread, but then again, rumors can always be off, or maybe there still can be a way to fit that France trip in. Who knows? I just find it really interesting that Dead City could end with Beth and possibly Daryl Dixon as well. If the rumors are true, everything really seems to be lining up. I guess we'll find out real soon. Super exciting. I just figured to mention this since it's all I've been seeing online recently. Yeah, no, I agree. Well, and the thing is, I think that they either are or will be filming in France, because one thing that we did get, they still have not given us dates on when Dead Season will air, which is really odd at this point that we don't have them yet. But what they did say is that they're going to be doing the premiere in Monte Carlo, which is a really kind of odd choice. That's part of the French Riviera. And the only reason I can think of that they would do that is if they're already over there filming and didn't want to come back to the States and then have to go back. I mean, it's an expensive trip. So, I mean, it's a really big place. It's a big deal. And, that isn't surprising because they would want to make it a big deal. But why would they be doing it in the French Riviera? You know what I mean? There's got to be a reason for that. So I agree. I mean, I think the French thing for Dead City is still definitely in play. As for, they haven't also told us whether it will be the last season. I did read an article that somebody might have sent me, that basically said that it would be the last season, and understand it was not like the official AMC studio or the showrunners confirming that. It was somebody guessing. So it's not an absolute confirmation or anything. But basically what they were saying was that the person who was confirming it, even though he's not part of the main powers that be that would be able to officially confirm it, he is he's either on social media or has a YouTube channel or something like that. Again, I don't have it in front of me, so I don't remember who it was, but they said that he has broken spoilers like this before, and he's usually right. And he thinks that it'll be, and is saying that it'll be the last season, that season 3 will be the end of Dead City. So I think there's a very good chance that it will be, but again, we don't have absolute confirmation of that yet. So yeah, the other thing is, I don't know that we know it will end on the AU or dream sequence. We know that it will be there, but it might not be the very end. It might be somewhere in the middle. So we don't know what the structure is going to look like, and we don't know what will be revealed. To follow up what I said a minute ago, the reason it's odd that we don't have the dates yet, first of all, it's the fact that we're so late in the year and don't have dates. We've gotten dates much earlier in other seasons. But the other thing too is that when they do the premiere at the Monte Carlo, which is in June, they're showing like the first two episodes of season three. And generally, if they're going to do that, the season debuts for everybody else within a week or two. And so it's odd that we have the dates of the premiere and they're going to show the first two episodes to the people there, but we don't have the dates for the series yet. But I mean, to a lot of people's points that I've been reading is that they wouldn't show us or do the first two episodes at the premiere and then not give us season three until 2027. Like they just wouldn't do that, right? So it's got to be coming up sometime pretty quick after that, but we just still don't have dates, which is a little bit weird. So yeah, we're just kind of waiting around to see what else they will confirm. But yeah, I mean, thanks for sending this in. It's definitely, there's just a lot of rumors swirling around. So it's not so much that we've gotten anything very concrete or any smoking guns or anything. It's just that there's so much rumor and some fact. I mean, like the date of the and location of the premiere and all that are swirling around, but we just don't have much that's concrete. So I think that's why everyone's really buzzing about it. So yeah, thanks for laying this out for us. All right. Variety dropped an article on a TWD game from Roguelite/AMC yesterday. That's for sure the Atlanta skyline, plus the distance to Chattanooga highway sign. Daryl's front and center, and there's a horde. It's fairly overrun looking, and Negan is there, counter proving that not everything with the game is based on canon. However, they've chosen to use Grady in games before, but I don't remember Atlanta being actively crispy then. I just thought it was interesting timing that this came out during AMC Upfront Week. Yeah, so let me make this bigger. Well, and this kind of, I don't know, I guess it could just be hinting because remember we had that line that was said that the last time, and it was in a game, I believe, right? That Rick said last time we were here, this place was burning on fire. I'm paraphrasing because I know I'm not saying it right. So this is like the second, at least, hint in a game of Atlanta burning. So yeah, that's interesting, and it may be a hint at something. I mean, here on the card, this looks like the walkers did during Coda and episode 7 too, Crossed, because of the napalm, and they were like burned into the street. So okay, but this is still just a callback to Coda. Like, why are they putting this in now? Why Atlanta now, as opposed to some other locale? I mean, Daryl's in Spain right now, right? And Negan's in New York. Why go out of their way to show us something in Atlanta? So to me, this is them hinting at something. Even aftermath. Aftermath of what? Aftermath of Coda? Aftermath of Beth being shot? I mean, what does aftermath refer to? And I'm sure it refers to something specific in the game. But yeah, thanks for telling us about this. It's very interesting that it's coming out now. And I feel like we are getting a lot of hints to some sort of return to Atlanta. And that may or may not be literal in the show. I don't even mean that necessarily in the show. I think they're going to go to Atlanta, but they're hinting maybe toward what happened in Atlanta. And the return could be a flashback or just finding things out, information. So yeah, I think it's interesting that this came out now, and especially not too long before we're going to see this AU thing in Dead City with Emily. So yeah, thanks for sharing this. This is actually a really fascinating picture. And I got to say too, I think it's interesting, the idea of Grady burning and, parts of Atlanta burning, because that was always such a big theme with Beth and Daryl. It was the let's burn it down, right? So, I mean, obviously, if they're going to say that, there are very literal ways to show it in the show. And we did see them burn down the Moonshine Shack, so they showed it literally then. But it's just interesting that in the aftermath of Grady, the last time Team Family was there, everything was burning. Like, that just feels very in sync with Beth's arc, but we don't know if it's literal or what it means or, anything like that. So yeah, this is great. Thanks for sending that in. All right, thoughts on this random post by Scott Gimple, who almost never posts. That's a whole lot of apples on that sandwich. Oh, I like it. That's fun. Okay, let's talk about this for a minute. Obviously, apples are a big theme, and they are very, very tied up with Beth. The place we've seen apples recently has been more like with Connie. That might have been the last big one, where when he saw her, he had that basket full of apples and dropped them. But apples are always about separation followed by reunion. So like in 614, I want to say. No, maybe it was 15, 615. We saw Rick and Michonne waking up together. They each take a bite of an apple. They eat the apple together, which was a foreshadow of them being separated, of, Rick leaving. And then, of course, we've had their reunion. But the biggest way that it ties to Beth is something that Norman said, and it was outside the show. It was in a interview or something where he talked about how he wanted to cry himself out before he did the last scene of Coda. So he sat on an apple crate and just like cried and cried and cried before they filmed. And the thing is, it doesn't really matter where he sat. And to me, that's an intentional detail that he inserted. And maybe there really was an apple crate there, but maybe they wanted him to say that because in the show they didn't feel like they drew enough attention to it. It didn't make it on camera. Nobody realized it was there, so they had him say that and put in the apple crate. But I feel like that was very much there's that, and then there's the green apple, what people assume is a green apple lollipop that Noah gave to Beth. But the point is, it's the apple symbol is very entangled with her. And then we've seen it with other people in the show, Rick and Michonne, Daryl and Connie, who are separated and then come back together, and that's there. So I will also say that if I had looked at this sandwich, I don't think I would have realized there were apples on it. Now that I'm looking closely, I can see that there are, but I probably, if it just at a glance, would have thought they were tomatoes. Red equals tomatoes on a sandwich. So he's drawing attention to the apples, and I don't know, to me, that is him telling us that we're about to have a reunion. And I mean, even if let's just, play devil's advocate here, even if it's only referring to Beth showing up in Dead City, okay, you could argue maybe that's what he means, that we're about to see someone associated with the apple symbol, even if it's just an AU in, Maggie's arc in this season. But that still confirms all the other apple symbols, right? That still confirms that she's associated with apples, that Norman saying the thing about the apple crate was intentional. And then we have people like Rick and Michonne and Daryl and Connie reunions with apples. So even if that's the case, it still confirms everything else and that we're coming up on some sort of reunion here. So thank you for sending that in. I did not see that he posted, and you're right, he does not post very often. So, and you guys know I don't follow the actors very well on social media. I think I technically do follow most of them for my account, but I never get on and look at anything. So I would have missed this, and most people would have. So that is a really fun post. Thank you so much for sending that in. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's all looking good, you guys. It's looking fun and promising, and we're just waiting here for the new season of whatever it is to start, and I'm really looking forward to it and what it brings us. So yeah, I will get on those Still and Alone videos very soon, hopefully within the next week or so. And as always, please keep sending me your asks, and if there's anything you want me to look into more deeply, I would be happy to do that. Everyone have a fabulous day, and as always, Bethyl on.